Hey guys, welcome to your free bonus number 1 for the SEO gems. Of course, this is the current and future state of SEO. In this specific bonus presentation, I'm going to be taking you through all the latest news, updates, the current state of SEO, where SEO is headed in the future, and what you can expect from the industry as a whole. So let's go ahead and jump straight into it. Okay, so the current state of SEO, where are we currently sitting as an industry? Now, obviously, there are a load more points that I could cover in this presentation and as the current and future states of SEO. But obviously, for the requirements of this video not being several hours long, I wanted to give you my most important factors when it comes to the current and future states of SEO. So currently, this is what, in my opinion, we are dealing with as an industry. So, firstly, and as I say all the time, and it's becoming a recurring theme, and I hate saying it, authority is winning. This is basically just the common recurring theme over and over again. They should make it a meme at this point. Authority winning, do you know what I mean, Charlie Sheen? Because it's literally the case that if you have any amount of authority, you just seem to win. So, at the end of the day, it just comes down to having that authoritative backlinks, having the authoritative topical authoritativeness of your content, etc., etc. Congratulations if you own a DR80. So, nofollow becoming more important. Obviously, this is something that has been a trend from the May update all the way throughout this year, and it's something that Google actually focused on when they were talking at conferences and stuff last year, which they said they were wanting to spruce up the nofollow as a hint directive. And in my personal opinion, nofollow became a hint directive in the May update. That is why nofollow backlinks were so affected by that singular update. But in the future, if you're not using nofollow updates and not using nofollow backlinks, you're going to mess up your strategy. Basically, you have to incorporate nofollow diversity into your strategy, as well as the fact that those links are actually passing juice now. If you have Wikipedia links, if you have BBC links, if you have all these large sites that are now nofollow, they are still passing serious juice. Like from our testing, those backlinks pass better juice than a DR30 guest post will all day, every day. And that is specifically probably due to it being a hint directive, and Google, of course, favouring the authoritativeness as being the hint towards a yes. So Google is understanding intent much better. This is something that is going to be happening every year, basically. It's just as technology progresses, as our understanding of NLP and ML and AI and all of these other annoying acronyms becomes better as a race, as humanity becomes better at this stuff, Google is going to become better at it. They are probably, aside from maybe government organisations, the leading experts in the world on AI and the leading company in the world on AI and machine learning and natural language processing. So it's just a fact. It's just a fact that it's getting better. That being said, for foreign languages, it's still a shit show. Like German and Spanish are the only two languages that seem to have actually been affected in terms of Google's NLP and intent and the machine learning algorithms. It doesn't seem to be able to understand the other languages quite as well, obviously, because literally the state of SEO for, as an example, the UK and America versus Germany versus Norway, right? Those three different search engines are three different ways of ranking. Whilst the December 2020 update did affect everything because it was majority link based, which allows it to affect everything all at once, it's still going to be the case that Google does not understand intent. It does not have NLP. It does not have all of these algorithms that are connected to machine learning or natural language processing like they claim to have. And new ads and featured snippet boxes, again, they're changing up the design spec, trying to make it so that featured snippets are even less seen. Like they're removing the box, so the actual box border from it, so it's just a white thing. It has no border anymore. And I've seen recently as well with them actually merging the ads into the featured snippet box, which basically makes it look as if the featured snippet is part of the ads, which is potentially really dangerous for a user's trustability in a product, because obviously a featured snippet has absolutely nothing to do with the ads in the product ad boxes above it, and the two entities are completely different, though Google's new design makes it look more of the same. And then crawling and indexing issues. This has been a thing throughout 2020. If you are dealing with a brand new website, if you're dealing with a site that doesn't have authority, etc., then it's a pain in the ass to get things indexed anymore. You can't just use the Google Submit tool. A lot of the old indexes that were literally just abusing the Google Submit tool don't work anymore. That's why I recommended Omega Indexer in the SEO Gems presentation. That thing does work. It submits it and it'll get your links indexed. But it seems to be a issue that has not been resolved. It doesn't seem like it's going to be resolved anytime soon. They said it was going to be a temporary removal of the URL submit tool, but they have made no update at all about the situation regarding that. So it looks like it's probably never coming back at this rate, unfortunately. Okay, so the first bit of news that I have for you is the new Google Screened process, which might potentially destroy a lot of local niches. Personally, I think this is a very clever idea from Google. I'm not necessarily sure how open they are to lawsuits and things as a result of Google literally giving these businesses a green verified tick. If that's not an endorsement, I don't know what the hell is. So a lot of people who are ranking small businesses, that kind of stuff, are just going to get destroyed by the top 3 competitors that are basically using the Google Screen sponsored ads to take the top listing there because they're the most relevant. Unless people are searching through an ad blocker desktop, which I very much doubt they are for local searches. Most local searches are mobile based. It's probably going to be the fact that these ads are going to continually infringe on the organic results for people. Unfortunately, though, we'll have to see how customers and how users react to this, because it has that sponsored thing, because it is going to be advertised as Google's new ad service, etc., etc. Users might still sway away from trusting it. Though I think that green tick from the Google Screen thing is fucking genius. I think it's going to really, really hurt a lot of the local SEO people. And I think it's just going to be a case of if users trust the Google screening process, if there's a load of bad PR around bad experiences of people using the Google screened recommendations, that might actually throw users back to using the organic results instead of using them. It's just about a time will tell thing, but this is something that's going to be really scary for all of the local SEOs and local SEO agencies that are out there right now. So something that really seemed to skip under the radar of a lot of SEOs, and I didn't really see anyone talking or discussing this apart from the Korean pop guys being Ted and Kyle. In 2020, Google actually introduced new zoning laws to your websites. So things like attributes, things like JavaScript and class names, all of those things no longer count towards any sort of a ranking signal. If you were to put keywords within them, they no longer give you any sort of a boost. So basically it means that, and some of these things Quora and Pop actually used to recommend you to do. I'm not sure if they've changed it since they implemented this, but unfortunately you can no longer use those cloaking and keyword stuffing based practices within attributes and class names and JavaScript and things anymore that used to actually give you a ranking signal. So we talked about this a little bit already. Google is getting a lot better at intent, natural language processing, and implementing machine learning into its algorithms. That should sound a little bit scary to black hats and grey hats, though when you think about it, it's still a machine, it's still an algorithm, it's still going to be able to be reverse engineered, it's still going to have settings, all of this kind of stuff. It's just more so the machine learning aspect of things where stuff starts getting really scary, where it's no longer just reacting a singular time based on the algorithm update. It's actually learning and adapting its reactions. So it's that is the most intense part of the entire algorithm to be worried about if you're a black or grey hat. But the technology for it to be distributed on an international scale to cover trillions of pages, hundreds of millions of domain names, is just not plausible right now. It would take probably another year or maybe 2 years for them to actually roll out any sort of commercialized machine learning en masse. In comparison to the amount of data it's got to process, it's just not efficient for it to run these highly expensive servers. If you're even going and renting one of Google's smallest machine learning servers, it's still going to cost you, like, I believe $8 an hour to rent their machine learning, and that's for the smallest spec that you can possibly get. So if you are to take that as a cost scope for what it actually costs to run multiple servers that are at this level of complexity, to run and index that amount of information, then you probably know where I'm going with the point that machine learning isn't active in the SERPs as much as people are making out it is. Natural language processing isn't the same as machine learning. Machine learning adapts and learns. Natural language processing, it's just a part of the machine learning caliber, but natural language processing was also a thing before machine learning was ever a thing, because we've always been interested in how humans write and how we can convert that into a computer-based algorithm so that it understands things better, because computers are really bad at understanding us, basically. We're better at talking to them than they are at us talking to... we are better at talking to them than they are at talking to us. Q&A schema seems to be absolutely killing it right now. If you haven't implemented Q&A schema into your blog posts and your product pages and anywhere else that it seems fit, I would go ahead and do that right now. It seems to be a actual... maybe not a signal, but due to the amount of information that is within these FAQs and the amount of information that gives Google as a direct answer. Bear in mind that when Google is creating featured snippets, it is having to find and access the information and process and understand it. With FAQs, you're doing the hard work for Google, essentially, so that it can actually make itself better at the feature snippet boxes and all of that. So I think that's why Google has put such an important emphasis on Q&A, because it actually helps train the algorithm even more. But it is really important. It's a massive ranking factor from what we've seen. Just adding it onto the page increased our single variable testing sites by several positions, which was incredible to see. Normally adding other schema doesn't really make much of a difference unless it's localized. Or persona based for like Wikipedia pages and things. But yeah, just making sure that you have Q&A schema implemented into every possible place that you can will make everything significantly better. So it's no surprise Google's own properties seem to be winning in every update, and it's actually one of the tips that I recommended in the SEO Gems presentation was to use their own properties as parasite pages, because you are much more safer using Google's own properties to do so. But basically, it seems the case that every single algorithm update that Google's own properties, whether it be Blogspot, YouTube, or whatever, seem to be absolutely killing it. And at the same time, video is basically YouTube at this point. If you're creating video content and you're not on YouTube, then I don't know where you are, because it's the only platform that people go to search for video content. They don't use Google to search for it. Like, they use the YouTube app, they use YouTube search. It's the second biggest search engine in the world now. It's bigger than Bing because of the amount of people searching in YouTube right now. That's how big Google is at dominating it. They now own the first and second biggest search engines in the entire world. Mobile dominance and crawling means more Android-focused mobile experience, which means you need to optimize the mobile experience of your website more for Android if you're trying to rank a website, because the Google crawl bot is actually based off an Android phone anyway. So the way it's rendering it is going to be based on Android and not on other mobile devices. So if you're optimizing the experience and the website for iPhone or for other mobile devices like that, that are non-Android, then it's not going to be able to be given that the mobile boost or whatever you want to call it in those SERPs. Making sure that you're optimizing for Android is really the most important part of mobile right now. And then Google Discover is becoming more important for the news industry and the major updates of companies. I've seen loads of companies, whether it be from like Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red releasing their Cyberpunk updates and it being fed into Google Discovery, all the way to like crypto being fed into Google Discovery, all of this stuff. If you're in news, if you're a company that needs to get information out to its audience fast, you want to be looking at Google Discover. Google says that you can't optimize for Google Discover and there's no way to do it. But then like literally in the next line, they say, websites with images perform 5% higher in Google Discovery. Well, if Google Discover has these images that perform better, then that's a signal, my friend. So it's obviously one of these things that ends up being a bit of Google just lying through their teeth again, unfortunately. So, where is SEO headed? What is the future looking like for the SEO industry, and what is the state of SEO going into the new year? So, number one, backlinks will be more important than ever. This is just the case from the last several updates, the case of what Google are leaning towards, and the fact that Google is not necessarily becoming more reliant on backlinks. They're just adding more criteria for backlinks to pass juice. And potentially making that juice even more effective on certain backlinks, such as nofollow backlinks, than ever before, right? So backlinks are still a major focus, if not the major focus, when you're doing link building campaigns. When you're doing SEO campaigns. So making sure that you have your eye on the ball with that is very important. Quality content will mean quality. This basically means that all of the spinning and all of the garbage content and like hiring Indian writers for $10 per 1,000 words, all of that's going to go out the window, because Google's going to get better at grammar, get better at punctuation, get better at intent, get better at the whole sum of actually quality English content writing, because their algorithms are just getting better at understanding it. And then internal linking will matter less and site structure will matter more. I know some people will argue with me on that, about link sculpting and about how the flow of your juice goes around the site, etc., etc. But I think it's going to be the case that Google is going to become less reliant on internal linking and more reliant on their own algorithms to understand the topical link between documents or between pages, basically. And that's what their patents are saying, and that's what their algorithms are heading towards. They want to be able to link documents together without having links. That's the whole aim of doing it, and internal linking is will become even less important than backlinks, because obviously backlinks are still going to pass trust, etc., whereas internal linking isn't going to pass any of that whatsoever. And then ads merging more and more. This basically just means that ads are going to look even less like ads as possible, like with the Google screen things, like with the knowledge box stuff. It just seems like Google is trying to make ads seem like they're not ads more and more these days. And that's it for this bonus. I hope that gave you a good insight into the current and future state of SEO, as well as a load of news that you probably hadn't heard about and gave you some stuff to go and research. You can jump into bonus number 2, where we'll be taking a look at some proper algorithm analysis. Peace.